Hello everyone. So this is my week 4 seminar video, and in this video I will be talking about the history of transactions. So I'll be first starting with the olden times and how transactions were happening during those times, and then I will move on to the current time and how transactions have changed during that time frame. So in the beginning, as you all might know, the system of exchange was very simple. It was a system called the barter system, in which if I have, for example, some grains or rice or something like that, and I want to buy some milk from the other person, then I would exchange my rice with the other person for the milk. This is a pretty simple system and it's alright, but there is an issue. What if the other person, he is alright with giving away his milk, but he doesn't actually need the wheat or the rice that I am giving him? So this problem leads to an issue where the seller is ready to sell, but he is not ready to trade what I have. This is where coins come in. So in the olden times, coins were made with materials that were actually valuable. So they might be made with gold or silver. So you are assured that there is some value with this coin. Now the trade is much more simpler, much more easier to do, because even you don't need to trade things. You can just exchange the things for this coin, and the receiver is assured that this coin has a value because it is made up of a valuable material. And as time moved on and banks came into the view, coins were replaced with currencies, and these currencies were not actually valuable. They were just a trust we had in the system. So for example, the 1 rupee note that we have, or the 1000 rupee note that we have, it is not actually, the material that it is made up of is not actually worth 1000 rupees, is it? It's a trust in the government that this piece of paper has a value of 1000 rupees or a 50 rupees. And it's even written on the notes that the government hereby agrees to give the receiver of this note this much amount of money. So when it came to this, the need for valuable materials went down, and we could just use other materials in place of this. Now this is a much better system, but the world has the world has improved beyond that also, and this is where cryptocurrencies come into view. This is the most recent development in the field of um, economy, where cryptocurrencies are a form of currency. Before this, let me talk about how, if you compare the transactions that are happening during our time to the transactions that happened maybe 15 or 20 years ago, a majority of the transactions that happen now are online. So our money is in the bank account, and we just, for example, buy something of Amazon, and we don't actually see the money that is going from us and the money that Amazon receives. We just see a few numbers, and that represents that this much money has gone from our account and this much money has gone to Amazon's account. So since most of the transactions are digital now, it makes sense to move on to a digital form of currency. This is where cryptocurrencies come into view. Cryptocurrencies are a form of currency that are completely digital, and they are kept track using a system called ledgers. And these cryptocurrencies are of many types. You might have heard of Bitcoin, Litecoins, and there are also some meme coins called Dogecoin. And Ethereum is another, the second most popular cryptocurrency. And these cryptocurrencies are a good thing because, first of all, they're very secure. Because when someone, um, I talked about the ledgers, right? These ledgers keep track of all of the transactions that happen. So when someone makes a transaction, it is kept track in the ledger. But this ledger is not just in one place. It's actually in thousands of computers. So if uh, if someone like a hacker wanted to hack into the system and maybe give themselves 10,000 Ethereum, they they would have to hack thousands of computers, because all of these computers keep track of the ledger, right? And if the hacker changes in just one computer, the system will be able to recognize that there is something suspicious going on here. They will be able to access all of the ledgers and verify if this is actually a valid change. So this is a much more secure system. And there is also the case of but there is also a problem with this, because all of this security means that we need more computing power, and this leads to a lot of environmental effects. These All of these ledgers are stored inside big servers or computers that will take up a lot of electricity and heat, which is not very economic. It will cost a lot. So this is one downside of cryptocurrencies. And another downside that is not actually a downside is, people are saying that cryptocurrencies are more um, useful for criminal activities, or more um, criminals use cryptocurrencies more to do their activities because the transactions are anonymous. But this is not actually true, because the transactions are not actually anonymous. It's pseudonymous, because the cryptocurrencies, they use a system called the blockchain. All right, the blockchain means it is a every transaction that occurs is stored inside a block, and this block holds the information about who is sending the money to whom, and the amount of money that is being sent. And it also holds the value of the last block that holds information about the last transaction. So this system is good because if you change the amount, the value of this, every block has a hash value, right? And if you change the amount that was sent or received, then the hash value of the block changes, and this will lead to the hash value of the previous blocks also changing. So you will be any malicious party that tries to change the amount or the hash values will not actually be able to do that, because the system will be able to recognize that something has gone wrong somewhere. So this leads to a even more secure system, and that is about blockchains. All right. So I was talking about pseudonymous, right? Pseudonymous means that your public key is viewable to everyone. It's just your private key. This is happening in asymmetric encryption. All right, public keys and private keys. I made a video about that before, and in that, the public key is obviously public. So you're not completely anonymous, because you can be tracked using your public key. So it's not really a good option for criminals, because if you just use plain old cash, it is completely untraceable, because it's just cash, and if you just leave it, and it cannot be traced back to who that cash was previously held by. So that argument is not really true. So that is everything that I have to talk about. Thank you so much.